get a vehicle that didn't pass the emissions test. And I've got the Ancel FX9000 on it right now. This is the new, more professional style handheld that Ancel sent me. What we're going to do is we're going to identify the vehicle. So the vehicle's already been identified. Now I'm going to go in the computer here. See, this is the importance of getting information from your service writer, because when I went up there to talk to the service writer this morning, he said, yeah, they went to the emissions testing facility, and when they plugged the thing in, it wouldn't read the vehicle. When I come out here and I look at the emissions testing report, that's not what it says. It says this vehicle rejected from testing because it did not successfully complete all required self-tests before the OBD test could not be completed. Therefore, the OBD test could not be completed. This generally results in the battery was recently disconnected or the vehicle was recently repaired. In this case, vehicle must complete one or more manufacturer recommended drive cycles. Several days of normal driving will cause the monitors to reset to steady or status to ready. If, however, this is the second or third time that the vehicle is repeated for readiness, we recommend you seek assistance from recognized repair technician or provide them with a repair data form. Here's a list of the 10 closest repair shops, and then the emissions testing facility will run you through it. This is why it's important to read your information, ask a lot of questions, and sometimes the service writer, based on their workload and stuff like that, can get things wrong. It's not that the connector could not communicate with the vehicle. It's the simple fact that all the monitors are not ready. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in here with the Ancel FX9000. This is the one we just got in actually it was sitting in my box when I got here this morning. We're going to identify the vehicle, and then we're going to go into the IM monitors, and we're actually going to go drive the vehicle and see what's going on with the monitors. I love this layout. The layout on this thing, it's all touchscreen. It's linked into the Wi-Fi initially, and it comes with a charge port. While it's connected to the vehicle, it charges, and it's just a really nice handheld. That's how quick it was for me hitting the button. It's already identified that there's a problem. Inspection organization. Wait a second. So this thing has already picked up that there's been an inspection done on this vehicle. It says right here, right on the side, there's information data that says inspection organization, and then it gives you the where is that? That's weird. Why does it say that? Inspection organization. Then it gives you a... Oh, no. It's me. It's giving my inspection of me hooking up this computer, and it's storing it in a database saying that I have been here at this time in this county, in this state, and it gives a serial number that's stored in the data system to know that somebody has been here. That's what it is. I was freaking out there for a second. I was going to be like, what the hell? How do they know the air team tried to run an emissions test? It's too early for this crap. Okay, so it says PCM has one abnormal situation. So we're going to click on that. And it says camshaft position timing over retarded bank 2. And that typically means that timing chains are going to end up being done. But what we'll do is we'll clear it and drive it and see what comes. That's what they did yesterday. They cleared the code so that DTC wasn't there, and then they went for their emissions test, and all these monitors were offline. So let's leave it cleared. There's no check engine light on now, and go drive the vehicle. with it cleared and see if we can get it to pass, and the customer can at least go get their emissions test done and then tell them, hey, that P0022, you're probably going to need timing chains. Or it could be a fluke. All right. It could, the battery, you know, when the batteries start to act up, they can cause codes to set in the computers anyway. So this, man, this handheld is nice. This is probably one of the nicest handhelds I've ever had for me that somebody sent me to review. It's very fast too. As soon as you're ready to go from screen, there we go. It's already done identifying all the modules. So now what I want to do is I want to go back. Am I ready to quit? Yes, I am. I want to get out of here. Here's what the screen looks like, the main screen. This is how nice this is. If I want to go to I am readiness, we'll go here. Fuel system, not ready. Misfire is good. Heated catalyst, not ready. O2 sensor, let's go. Loading vehicle reset. It says you can do a brake reset, oil reset, steering angle, sensor reset, battery reset, ABS bleeding, electronic throttle relearn, DPF regen, gear learn, gearbox learn, injector learn, sunroof learn. I mean, it's got a whole section of learn parameters in here that you can go into. I'm going to go to the diagnose button, which is just a generic. You can do an auto. And it's scanning for VIN right now. And then I'm going to just purposely clear everything out before we drive. And I'll reset the keep alive memory. If you reset the keep alive memory while you're in there, it'll reset the fuel tables in case there was any kind of fluke or hiccup. That might just be a fluke, that cam timing over retard. Because this vehicle's warm and it's responding very well, like it's very healthy. Clear code. Let's go back into the PCM again and see if it's not there. Or you know what? The code popped up. They pulled the battery terminal to make the check engine light go away, but it never cleared from the system. Yeah, it's a 3.5 Eco. So basically it drops all your modules down right here after you clear, and then you can go back into each category and just hit the little check mark and it'll automatically scan that module for you without you having to go to multiple different screens. The scan tool is the Ancel FX9000. It's about a $375 to $450 touchscreen scan tool. It's more of a professional style, like mid-grade scan tool per se. Like a mobile mechanic would love this, or a guy at a shop that's looking for to bounce from vehicle to vehicle to vehicle. But you're tethered, you know, it's not wireless, and it does a lot of stuff. I mean, but with the discount code that Ancel will give me, I get the free tool. I don't make money off these. I think people need to understand that when I showcase these tools, it's because they're sending them to me to check out. Some of them I like, and some of them don't. I've sent two of them back that said, you know what, this ain't gonna work for our industry. Just, you know, and then they'll say, well, we got a more professional scan, so we'll check this one out. Well, when I see this and I see how easy it is and how it's all touchscreen and stuff like that, they send me the free tool, and they say your payment is doing the review to us. So if you could show us the basic functions of it in one video, and then maybe in a second video show some of the more advanced actuation tests and stuff like that, then, you know, what more could we ask for from a guy? Then we'll give your channel, anybody that comes by your channel will get an extra, you know, certain amount off based on top of what Amazon is giving off on this as well. So you might see this for $375 or $400 on Amazon, and then they might have a coupon of like 10% off, but then Ancel says, no, type in this code as well, you get another 20 or 30% off as well. That's a lot of money off on such a nice tool. Read fault code, key on engine. No. I want to go key on engine running. So here's a section right here that says key on engine running test, and that's what I want. I want to run it through. I want everything to start actuating while I'm running this test. The vehicle must be prepared for a self-test. Make sure everything's safe in park. Cooling fan may operate during self-tests. Vehicles that are equipped with a sport economy switch may require the switch to be cycled on and off during the test. Let's go. Let's just do it. There, it's increasing the RPM of the engine and everything. Yeah, let's get through some more of this and then remind me to do the cam timing. IDS is okay. There's a lot you can do with it, but I've actually had a lot of third-party scan tools that I can get in 10 times faster, and I can monitor everything. Like that Think Diag tool that Launch sent me from ThinkCar. Within 30 seconds, I've already communicated to the vehicle. I've already pulled door codes. I'm already getting into data logger. I'm already monitoring live stream data. But the OE stuff is more user-friendly when it comes to programming and bringing modules online, when it comes to special tests and things like that. But overall, honestly, to be honest with you, I think a lot of the third-party people have a lot more easier, quicker setups to communicate with the vehicle. It's Amia. Did you get those the wrenches that I gave away on A-Rod's channel? I got notification that Vanderpool got theirs. Did you get yours as well? Man, I gotta shut the sound off on this. Yeah, but there's other scanners that have the same thing as well. Like even 4Scan has like a cylinder contribution and stuff like that. There's other ways of looking at it. You don't need IDS just to look at those types of things. All right, so there's no codes stored anymore other than me not hitting the brake, which is normal. They want you to hit the brake and turn the steering wheel during a key on engine running test, and I forgot to do that just now. So the only code that's stored is the fact that it didn't see a brake input, which is not a big deal. So that is out of the system now. Now I want to read the data stream for the PCM. So I just go right here on the bottom. It says read data stream, and now we're communicating. O2, AC, load value, acceleration value of each cylinder, Gives you all the different positions for the pedal sensor, the voltages for it, actual intake camshaft position bank 2 and bank 1. Gives you all your air fuel readings. Oh my god, so many different air fuel readings. Ambient air temp for different stuff. Barometric pressure. You can get it in hertz, psi. You can do everything right from the cramset. Okay, so here we go. Camshaft position sensor bank 1 exhaust status. Camshaft position sensor bank 1 intake status. Camshaft position sensor bank 2, bank 2. CMP position sensor and CKP position synchronized. And then it gives you the individual knock counter for each cylinder. Cylinder head temperature, cylinder head voltage, engine load, not or spark knock, engine oil life remaining, engine runtime. Oh my, there's 348 different PIDs. Yeah, I'm just gonna stick with the cam stuff and move forward. So we are at the camshaft stuff right now. Let's see here. So CKP and CMP is synchronized. There's no error between bank 1 exhaust status and bank 2 so intake and exhaust. Yeah, I mean it should PMI one. Even that Think Car wireless one should PMI one. I'm gonna do just a little bit of a throttle increase here. Just hold it steady for a second and see what we got. I'm gonna graph this. Oh my god, I love this graph, man. Wow. No hiccups, nice easy sweep. I mean, Louis, the only way for me to do it would be to try to do it, and I don't want to necessarily PMI, but yes, it is supposed to do that. When you go out of here, there's a special function in there that does talk about. We'll go back and look real quick. No, you can do that with other tools too. You just have to have. Sometimes you have to pay for the option to get into that type of stuff. Let me see if I can reset Keep Alive memory on this. Probably going to have to go to special tests. maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it doesn't have it. It says brake reset, oil reset, I think this is steering angle sensor reset, battery reset, ABS bleeding, electronic throttle, TPMS. What is AFS? Adaptive front lighting. Is this transmission? Crankshaft position sensor, adaptive learning. Crankshaft position sensor learnt and stored in the computer. That might help too. The software is used for resetting of the adaptation data for the gearbox dismounted or repaired after battery powered off. What is this here? The software is used for immobilizer in order to prevent illegal use of car keys through the anti-theft key matching function. The car can only be started and normally used after the immobilizer control system is identified and authorized and authorize the remote control keys. Okay, so let's go back. The software is used for level calibration that can diagnose the electronic control system up to 2018 when the car body height sensor and control module and the air suspension system are replaced or the car level is incorrect. Perform this function to adjust the car body height sensor for horizontal calibration. I want to see if there's anything like specific to, and then you can go into upgrade and there's all the different software available. The different firmware needs to be upgraded. I didn't do anything. I didn't update any of this stuff. Air fuel upgrades, there's all kinds of stuff here that you can just hit update and just start updating and downloading everything. I'm not going to do that right now. Let me get on with what I'm doing this morning before we go any further, because I do have a purpose here. It doesn't look like it will PMI a let's go drive it and see if any of this changes. It doesn't look like it will do a PSCM, so unfortunately maybe that's not something that, but I think that ThinkCar ThinkDiag thing I have does do that. That wireless dongle, it does say PMI, power steering control module. That's a typical sound these steering wheels make in these Explorers. If you listen right here, right behind the steering wheel. And they, even when you replace or you lube up the gear, eventually it comes back. Look here, look at the new lifts we got. The rotary lift flex max. Those things are massive. We just got them last night. And then they gave us 20,000 pound jack stands. All Bluetooth together. Those things are nice. Expensive. Put some heat on, man. It's hot in here. I mean, it's cold in here. All right, it's gonna shut off, and then it's gonna come back because I'm stepping away from the Wi-Fi. So let me just turn it off now. Yeah, I don't know what it is with these SUVs, the 2000 model, or like 2000, let's just say 2013 to 2019 Ford SUVs. Every once in a while you hear that squeaking sound from right inside the column, right behind the steering wheel. And then you lube it up a little bit, it goes away, but then it comes right back. They put this monitor up here so I can see it better. Steering wheel way off in this thing, way off. Sitting like this, going down the road. What are you doing, man? We're being a jag off and move. Stupid. Stupid. Idiots. The guy wants to speed up, then ride you, and get over in the other lane, then ride right next to you, and then get back behind your bumper. He probably thought I was a cop because this is an all-black Explorer. Good morning. So you can get these monitors to come online. So we got two monitors complete right now. We got the misfire monitor complete, and we got comprehensive component complete. Now we're looking for fuel system and catalyst, O2 sensor, the evap system. How much fuel do we have in here? So we got a little bit above a quarter tank. That's enough for the evap system or for me to run an evap test if I have to. Try to make things work and function. Typically, just driving the vehicle a few days will bring everything back online if there's no problem. But people in general don't know that. They think it has to go to a shop. And it even says right in the directions on the failed emissions test, if it was a fluke, you could just drive it for a little while and eventually all the monitors will learn their status. But it's a number of, you got to meet certain criteria. You got to be up to like 50 mile an hour for so long and then slow down to 30 without hitting the brake. And this has to be done so many times, and then an event from going like 50 down while braking, exiting, or there's like a bunch of stuff. Good morning. Yeah, people nowadays they're stupid, man. People just very, very selfish. I love people in general, don't get me wrong. I'm a people person. I used to not be a people person, but I love building relationships with people. But at the same time, I despise people as well. Last night there was a guy that popped up on my oil testing video where I compared the Ultra, Pennzoil Ultra, to the Mobil 1 Extended Performance, and he was like, "Oh, you're such an asshole because you didn't tell people that not only did you just test the Mobil 1 for 3,000 miles, but you had that Mobil 1 in your vehicle when you went out to the engine performer and you were doing the dyno runs and you started using the new fuel." And I said, "Yeah, I changed the oil and made sure there's fresh oil in it and a new filter when I went out there to actually see how much power the car was making. And I ran the vehicle on the dyno for about 40 minutes. I did 4 wide open throttle pulls with no overdrive. 3,000 miles on that oil. You're right. Well, that's the reason why you would have so much extra metal, because you were beating on it. Dude, I beat the hell out of my car every single day. Even after that oil change with Pennzoil Platinum Ultra, every time I get on the highway, it's wide open throttle until I'm up to speed. I beat that car like it's a redheaded stepchild. Every single day, that car gets beat. I don't know how to drive that car any other way, and it takes every bit of it because I've maintained the hell out of it. So for you to save 40 minutes on a dyno at 3,000 mile oil change interval on that Mobil 1, and then putting 4,500, 5,000 miles on the Pennzoil Platinum Ultra and beating the hell out of it for 4,500 miles doesn't equate. You're a fucking fool, man. People amaze me. Some of the stupid stuff that they say and how their mind works. People just, I don't know. And I've been running 93 octane with the new tune in the computer from day one of the Mobil change, or the day after the Mobil change. So I don't get it. People are idiots. But then there's a lot of good people as well. Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm running the same 8 mile course that I run. You ever notice how like insecure people become whenever you talk about something that, or maybe not even insecure, like uh, for the longest time, watching my uncles, um, my uncle, uh, dip rod bearings in oil and then install them wet into a freshly built or a freshly cleaned block that's been vatted and everything else. I thought that was the way for the longest time. Literally thought that's how you install rod bearings and main bearings and all this other stuff. And little did I know, that's not the way you do it. When I was younger, I used to think that the way they did things was the right way to do it. And as I got older, I started realizing a lot of the things that I was taught and that I seen were not even in the least form correct. Um, you don't you don't soak rod bearings and main bearings in oil. Those bearings get installed clean and dry to mate in the cross hatch. Put some assembly lube on the side that the rotating part goes on. But you do not lubricate the side where it's supposed to mate and press into that machined hatch that's inside that retaining area where it sits. So years later, I'm sitting down talking to my uncle and stuff, and he was like, "Yeah, the old rod bearings spun in the Chevy truck." And I said, "Well, it's because you didn't install the bearings correctly." And he said, "Well, what do you mean?" Um, he said, or he asked me, "What do you mean?" And I said, "Well, the way you installed those bearings is they were lubricated on both sides, and you installed them into a block that you had a lubricated surface on both sides, and that's not how those bearings are meant to be installed. Even where it says install the rod and main bearings clean and dry into the holding assembly where they go, or the main bearings especially." And he said, "Man, I've been doing that my whole life." And I said, "Just because you've been doing it your whole life doesn't mean that one time that you do it, because you've been doing it your whole life, just like you've seen, didn't come back and bite you in the butt. You've been doing it wrong your whole life." Well, how in the hell are you going to tell? Because I'm a professional. I understand that you've been wrenching in your garage and at Uncle Pete's transmission shop and stuff like that, and you're good, but you're not a professional. You do shit the shade tree way. You don't do shit the way it's supposed to be done. And that's why every once in a while you'll get one of those issues where something comes back and it bites you, and I don't run through those problems. Well, I've been doing this twice as long as you, and I know you have, but you're also not as smart as me. You also don't know electronics as good as I do. You also have not been in the literature and stuff from the manufacturers that build the stuff that you're putting together. Just because you can take something apart and put it back together doesn't mean you have it all figured out. There's a right way and a wrong way to do something. And just because you can do something the wrong way and get by doesn't mean it's the safe and right way to do it. Well, since then we haven't talked about automotive again. We haven't spoke to each other about it again. He leaves me alone and I leave him alone. We don't bother each other with automotive stuff because he knows that I'm going to get the best of the conversation, because at the end of the day, what I'm saying is I'm being taught by professionals that have designed and put out the literature for this stuff, that actually create the way it's supposed to be done and design things the way it's supposed to be done. I'm the one talking to these engineers and stuff on the phone and reaching out to them to figure out where these specific issues lay and stuff like that. So I get a kick out of when I actually try to teach somebody the right way to do something, the way it was designed to be done, and they push back and they want to fight you and they want to argue with you and stuff. Just like that anti-seize. Well, I've been putting anti-seize on lug nuts and lugs for 30 years, and I'm going to keep doing it just because I can. Well, I mean, you can keep doing it as long as it's to your own vehicle. But the manufacturer themselves say, do not do that. That's not what you should be doing. It says right on the container of anti-seize, do not use it for that stuff. Doesn't mean that that just because you're doing it and getting away with it, that you should be doing it. All it does is take one instance for something to happen, and then them come back on a car accident or investigation and see that this person was in an accident and the wheel assembly came off, or it didn't even have anything to do with what you did. If the wheel ended up snapping off of it and they go back and they look and they see anti-seize all over those lugs, guess what, bud? Your ass is going to jail or being prosecuted for doing shit incorrectly. It's in no manufacturer's literature that says that you should be doing that stuff. It's not even the right way to do it. And the shit that you used on the bottle, it says, warning, do not put on lugs or lug nuts. But you did it anyway. So I understand that you've been doing something a certain way for 30 or 40 years, but that doesn't mean you should continue to do it just because you can do it. But people are too stubborn to realize that it's not necessarily the right way to continue living your life. Just because you can, you should. Whatever, man. And then I talk to a lot of people that have been doing things a certain way for a long time, and they're like, man, I didn't even know. I'm going to stop doing that. I don't care if I've been doing it for 20 or 30 years. I'm going to stop doing that so I can focus on actually doing it the right way. The hub surface is fine. I mean, even the manufacturer and a lot of the literature says cleaning the corrosion and stuff off of the hub surface and actually putting a little bit around it. If you watch some of my videos, what I'll do is I'll take some anti-seize and I'll go around the hub surface and then I'll wipe off any excess and I'll just leave a light smear across it. And then I'll put the aluminum rim back on the metal face because of that bimetal corrosion. That's perfectly fine. That's actually an acceptable standard. To not put so much that it can be slung out onto the brakes and stuff, because I've seen guys do that stuff to slide pins on brakes. I've seen guys do that to put so much grease around the hub face that it slings it out all over the rim and stuff like that. I've seen them put so much on the center part of the rim and the hub face that it ends up creeping out into the outside of the rim and getting all over the damn rim and slinging all over the side of the vehicle. And that stuff is a mess. If any of you have ever worked with anti-seize, you know, man, once it gets in one little spot, it starts traveling everywhere. It's bad. This stuff is messy. And every type of lubricant has a different threshold when it comes to wet torque. So if you're torquing a set of lug nuts down at 100 foot-pounds and you put anti-seize on those threads, I mean, you're going to actually end up finishing that actual torque being wet like 70 foot-pounds or something. 75 foot-pounds. There's going to be a reduction in torque because you're lubricating something and it's going to make all that slide much easier. And a lot of guys don't do that. One guy popped up and said, hell, I put 20 extra foot-pounds whenever I use anti-seize. That's what you're supposed to do. And who the hell told you that? Well, I've been doing that for 40 years in my own garage. Who the hell told you that when you lubricate something, you over-torque? You don't over-torque when you lubricate. You stretch the threads that way. That's how they're binding. The mating surface is where the lug nut and the threads actually start to push together. With you over-torquing, every time you torque those wheels, you're actually starting to separate those threads and stretch that stud. And it's not able, and then eventually the lug nut will start binding. Because you're not stretching the lug nut, you're stretching the stud. And then it'll actually pull the head of it. It'll snap the head of it off eventually. Or get into an accident and it can't withstand that, if you hit the front right of the vehicle and it's been torqued down 20 foot-pounds over, and it's got so much tensile strength, it's now degraded because of some idiot over torquing because they assumed by putting lubricants on threads that that's what they should do. It gets into an accident, and just that one push with no little buffer zone or whatever for it to stretch a little bit, you're done. You snap the rim right off it, snap the lug nuts off of it. Everything's built a certain way for a reason. Then the same guy last night, he's talking to me and he says, what his name, Brian Snyder or something like that. Brian Schneider. I don't know. I had to tell him to shut the hell up. I said, man, all right, you've been spamming a couple of my videos now, and I've about had it with your shit. I don't care if people want to come here and talk about what they do and we can have conversations and stuff. I like that kind of stuff. But when you come here and you start telling me how to operate my shit here, we ain't having that, Chief. I've learned some really cool tricks from you guys that have been in the industry for a while, and I love that. I love you for it. I appreciate that. And I give props where credit's due. But this jackass came to the channel last night talking about, you're doing this wrong and you're doing that wrong, and you should have ran this the same way that you ran that. Shut the hell up. Ain't nobody trying to talk to your fuckly ass. Get out of here. It's then you get to the point where they want to start digging into all your videos all the way back to, way back when. Well, you said when you put the Mobile 1 in your vehicle that it sounded all right. Well, it did sound all right. It didn't mean it didn't have any noise to it. That didn't mean it didn't have any little bit of extra noise when when I started it up. If I can compare this oil versus this oil and how my vehicle is running on cold start, and I can hear that the Pennzoil Platinum Ultra is actually making my motor quieter on cold start than the Mobile 1 was, I said the Mobile 1 did all right. I didn't say I was super impressed with it, but it was okay. And even when I showed everybody the lab results, the analysis, the Ultra versus the Advanced Performance, I said, look, it's a good oil, but it's not what people make it out to be. It's marketed very, very well. There are better oils out there that you can buy for the same price, if not cheaper. And that's one of those one of those Mobile 1 fanboys that are trying to pull, they're grasping for straws, so somebody could admit that their lovely oil product is just the best thing ever. And then you get a lot of guys that are loyal to the channel that it doesn't matter, no matter what, they just straight up say, well, I'm not changing from Mobile 1. I didn't ask anybody to change. I was sharing my results with you guys. I'm not trying to get you to change your life because I live my life a certain way or use a certain product a certain way. I'm sharing what I'm learning as I'm doing it. It's simply fucking that. I'm not interested in why you don't want, single ply toilet paper versus double ply toilet paper. I like to wipe my ass on a cloud too, buddy. Give me that Charmin double ply. I'm okay. Or that northern fluffy quilt, that pamper my ass stuff. I got it. Roger Dodger. If you like one ply, you like one ply. You like mobile, you like mobile. But I'm not fixing to lie to people just because somebody else is upset and now emotional because I said something bad about their beloved oil. At the end of the day, ambulance. You heard me? Then I talked to MMO last night. I don't know if you guys caught the post or not on the community channel, but the lead engineer from MMO called me last night. He was like, dude, I'm sorry for waiting so long. I'm not sure how long you were trying to get a hold of me. I was sitting at my computer all day answering emails and getting back to other parts of the company where I had to, he's got a job as an engineer and being in a test stuff like that, looking at all these products. He's a busy guy. Well, he called me and we talked for about 35 minutes last night, and we talked about Marvel Mystery Oil, and he was like, I told him, I said, one of the most common things that people say to me is, well, why would you put Marvel Mystery Oil in there when you can just buy some cheap ATF? Anything will do. It's the same thing. It's not the same thing. It's so basically when we were talking, he was saying oil from 20, 30, 40 years ago is not the same thing as oil today. The base oils are different. How they put everything to get it, to get the oil to where it's at is different. It's nowhere near the same. And he said, I brought up the fact that back in the 80s, everybody thinks Pennzoil oil is trash because back in the 80s, it would wax up, and he said that's because of the base oil stock. They don't use that type of stock anymore. And it didn't just happen with Pennzoil. It happened with several different oils. It wasn't just one. So Pennzoil had the bad name for it because they were using, I guess, that specific base stock, paraffin stock or something like that, more than anybody else was. But there were other oil companies that used the paraffin stock as well, and then they ended up having to go to some type of, I don't know if it was naphthenic or something like that, and it's been changed several times. The formula has been changed several times. And he said the one thing about Marvel Mystery Oil is it's never been changed. Maybe back in the day when ATF was a little bit more, I don't know if you would say solvent based, or it was made from a different base stock of oil, it would be close to Marvel Mystery Oil. But the ATF that we have today, that's designed today and created for vehicles today, is not the same as the ATF back then. So when people say just dump some kind of ATF in it, it's the same as Marvel Mystery Oil, they're not being honest at all, because that's actually not how it is. They're not even close to the same. He said that Marvel Mystery Oil, we're coming up on 100 years. It has his words. This is his words. Now somebody else corrected last night, which I'll accept, and I'll ask questions next week when we all sit down and talk. But he specifically said, this was his words, Marvel Mystery Oil was created, or right at almost 100 years ago, before the EPA, and they've never changed their formula. It's been the same because they're grandfathered in. That cleaning additive, basically vitamin for your oil, has been out that long, and nothing has changed about that product. Now somebody did say last night that back in 2007 or whatever, they had to remove something from the product because people were using it in their diesel or something. I don't know. And he basically said, what I do is I call it a oil wetter. Not only does it thin oil out a little bit, it adds a little bit more additive package to the oil, and it kind of helps it get in other areas that normally it wouldn't be able to get to. And it does a really good job cleaning because of what's in it. And he said one of the biggest mistakes was companies running, or oil companies taking out a lot of the ZDP, some of the additives that would protect your valve train and stuff. They took a lot of that out because it was affecting the catalytic converters. And if you had a lot of that additive still in there today, your valve train would be a lot quieter and be a lot smoother. The problem is they're worried about contaminating the cat. So he said a lot of guys for over 40, 50 years that he knows have been running Marvel Mystery Oil, especially during the winter time. They'll put it in their oil and stuff to help their cold starts, help their fuel system stay lubricated. And he said, especially when you run it in carbureted vehicles, dump that stuff in the fuel, and as the fuel starts to evaporate and stuff in those bowls, if you have a vehicle sitting in your garage and you didn't get all the fuel out of the car, but it's got Marvel Mystery Oil in it, it'll leave a slight film of lubrication on like your float, your stop, your needle valve and stuff like that in that carburetor, and it'll keep it to where it doesn't freeze up or anything. Where if you didn't have that stuff in there, you let it sit all winter unthawed, or with that fuel in there, it'll start to seize up inside that carburetor. But when they run Marvel Mystery Oil in that fuel, it doesn't happen. It keeps everything lubricated. It's a lot of bad information out. A lot of people think they got it all figured out. Go over here to this website and go tell these people what you think and let them straighten you out. What are you talking about? A bunch of average guys that go to work every single day and work average jobs that are on these websites that all pump each other's heads up and stuff like that and make each other think that, oh yeah, great, that's nice, Bill, you really are smart, you know what's going on. And I look at what the hell they're saying and I'm like, who in the hell told you that shit? Where did you even get this information from? It's the first. I don't know. But we'll see when we sit down with an interview with Marvel Mystery Oil next week. It'll be the engineer and the marketing rep. We'll sit, ask questions, and I'll record it. So if you guys end up having questions about something you want answers to when it comes to the product, please let me know. And I even asked him, as old as this gentleman is, he sounded like he's got some years behind him, and the knowledge that he had. We were talking on the phone ratings with oils, and I told him, I said, oh, that Pennzoil Platinum, I ran that stuff 4,500 miles, 5,000 miles, and the TBN dropped down to 3.6. Now, it had quite a bit more left in it, for sure, additive package-wise, but it dropped down pretty quick in that, little bit of time. And he said that's why I tell people all the time to don't always rely on what that oil company says you can do with that oil. You should still pick a good service interval and stick with it. And he said, I change my oil every 3,000 to 4,000 miles. And I said, thank you. That's what I tell people. And I don't even know this man. And he's a professional that studies this stuff. And he said, I don't care how good the oil is in my vehicle. I change the oil every 3,000 to 4,000 miles. And that's how my oil gets changed. I said, I do the same thing. I'm not about to sit there and run my oil out 7,500 miles, 10,000 miles. It's not something I'm going to do. And I said, hell, if you look at the video I put up yesterday on the YouTube channel, that motor has 18,000 miles on it. It's already had 3 oil changes. And look at the amount of varnish that's built up inside that motor already at 18,000 miles. Because it's an EcoBoost engine, that motor gets hot. It's going to be beat on. I don't care if that TBN rating says it's still at 4 when you send the oil sample in. When you start looking at things that an oil analysis can't see, which is varnish buildup inside that motor, how in the hell are you going to come up with a good judgment on whether or not that oil is actually keeping that motor clean? You can't. Anyway. Oh, God. I want to go to sleep. We'll finish this test run right here, and then I'm going to take this back. What are we talking about? $150 doesn't sound like it's off, and especially if it's the same on all 4. You're good. What are you trying to chase with that 1.6? What is it? A 1.6? 13 Fiesta. Well, I'm gonna stop at Dunkin' and grab coffee on the way back, and then done here. I just wanted to show you a little bit of the scan tool today, and I'll do a better review later on that scan tool, but at the Ancel FX9000. So, let's get off of here. Y'all have a great day. If you want me to do something later on this scan tool, I will. Probably, maybe I could just take it home and then I don't know. I'm gonna try to put it through all the updates first, though. I'm gonna have to let it sit at work on the charger and update everything. Yeah, oil is cheap. Motors are not, but you can't tell certain people that. Especially people with Toyotas, man. People with Toyotas and Mercedes, they swear they want to go 10, 15,000 miles on their oil change, and I'm like, people, man, people. That's why you see so many damn Mercedes and BMWs used for sale online, cheap as hell, because don't nobody take care of them. They want to run them 10, 15,000 miles. Yeah, they're not breaking down all the time, but hell, by the time they get out of warranty and people are ready to trade them off or sell them private party, they're freaking junk. And then you try to go fix them, and they cost the damn arm and a leg to fix them. Sound like another manufacturer that I've heard of? Does it sound like another manufacturer you guys have heard of? I'm sure it has. Oh, let's just get the vehicle out of warranty, sell them, and then all the problems will start then. Planned obsolescence. Yeah, we take turns working on a Saturday, but we get a day off during the week, so I took yesterday off. Saturdays are only it's like a normal work day, 8 to 3 or 7 to 3, and it's normally it's customer pay stuff. It's not warranty stuff, so that's always a plus. But now it doesn't matter if it's warranty stuff or not, because warranty pays the same price as the customer pay, pretty much. So here in the state of Illinois and California, every other state, they're still getting screwed by the warranty company. Hippie. All right, I'm jumping off here, guys. Take care day. Maybe I'll be on here later to do something with the scanner, but I'll see you guys.